Alright, see if I can do a fit check. See if that's even possible, even legal. Oh, you get my torso only. How about this? Torso? Oh my god. Torso? There we go. Fit check. Volume 1. Let's go. Not to fall over. Fit check. Okay. Now. Table check. Desk check. Whoa. This is how my desk looks after living elsewhere, living in a monastery for 3 months, and just getting back a week ago today. I've got all the notes that I took at the monastery. You could tell this is a research book because I'm only halfway and that's how many notes I have in it. We regret to inform you, the Paris Review does, and hence I was at a monastery. Monastery-like books. This is a friend's manuscript, hiding V.S. Naipaul away in the world. More mindfulness, monastery things. Tea, very important. A monk gave me this. Oops, I just spilled all my tea. Oh my god, I spilled the tea. Hold on. I gotta pause it. I spilled the tea. Okay, desk tour. Cut short because that's not even what this video is about. I've got notes, people, because my mind is very dispersed. Okay. I just got home a week ago today. I went through my closet yesterday, 2 days ago, and I was like moving in, getting back home, and just trying to like organize, clean out stuff. I laid out all the clothes that I like the most. A caveat or an asterisk to this is that I like clothes. I like dressing in cool ways, which goes into this idea of like, a writer should not care about their appearance or style in any way. They should just put on Kroger Great Value brand hoodie or something and then get to work eating pizza in a dark room and just pumping out stories. But the reality is that I enjoy and like style, and the idea is a writer shouldn't like these things. So there's this like split between how I am and my idea of how a writer should be, which is something just to note in my chronology of the last 3 months, but actually the last 6 months and 4 or 5 years, and my entire kind of writing life, artistic life. So I went through this closet and I just put out everything on my floor that I actually like, and realized that that was about a third of the clothes that I have and have had for years. I just realized today, thinking about making this video, that's actually a perfect analogy to what I've been going through the past 6 months, and especially where I'm at now after returning home. So this past July, 6 months ago, I finished the first draft, which was really like the 4th or 5th draft of a novel. Yeah, what I found was I had cleared the way in my life, my circumstances, to just be a writer for 6 months and to make this happen, make this work. And my idea was that I would get this draft done, send it out to entities, to writers and editors and people, have a year of editing to go, and then just finish it up, and my career begins. I'm published in Noon and Moo House, and Paris Review is not sending me rejection letters. All of these things. I had this timeline of what I wanted to happen and a vision of what I wanted to happen with my writing life And these beliefs about my writing career and my writing life really jeopardized my process and created a lot of suffering. I know I've talked about like what the difference between a commercial work is and a work that is just successful. And I think the idea that I had was that there's this artistic integrity to works that are created without the idea of commercial success in their fabric, and however they sell is unrelated to the content and the form of the work of art. This career path I had in mind, which is funny to even call it that, my writing life and the steps that I had in mind, I was feeling that one, I wasn't meeting these objectives that I had, and two, the objectives that I had were making my work suffer. I put a ton of pressure on myself to have certain things happen, and be creating the work that was so undeniable that Diane Williams and Noon couldn't reject it, and agent X, Y, and Z couldn't reject it, like writers that I respected and reached out to couldn't reject my work, But the reality is that I've been working a long time and I'm closer than I've ever been before, and I've actually had and met with some of those objectives that I had in mind, but this is a long-term vision, and to want it right away was making me suffer and burn out and jeopardizing my life as a writer and a creator, an artist, because of these external wishes that I wasn't seeing fulfilled, So I think what's happened in the past 6 months is that I wrote this book, sent it out to a lot of people. It's the closest thing that I've ever had to being representative of a debut work that I want to put out there. And yet there's a long way to go. Like in this novel, I figured out my subject, amazing. I figured out my form. I figured out stylistically how this work is going to look and behave. I also figured out thematic elements, what big questions are being engaged with in this book, and how does my subject open up those questions in a way that's not contrived, or obvious. And maybe this analogy isn't working anymore, but like cleaning out my closet the other day was similar to the past 6 months, right? Like I put this thing out, I figured out kind of the markers that I had reached in drafting this book. And I also realized that I'm still working hard for this analogy. Like I realized okay, if 2/3 of my closet has just been stuff that's hanging out there that I kind of wear, don't really like, has been around for years, and I'm just realizing now as I lay everything out and consider it, what I actually value, what I actually like. Same with my writing process, my career, and my personal life, my life, I wrote this book, I've set everything aside, I made a lot of sacrifices, was heading down the path of potentially destroying certain things that are fundamental to me in order to pursue not my writing or art, but to pursue my career and my idea of the boxes and things that I had to check off and the timeline that I wanted to have those things. What I realized is I can continue to suffer and potentially hurt other people, guaranteed hurt myself and other people, or I can get rid of some of those ideas and beliefs that I had gathered like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that weren't really serving me and definitely not serving the actual writing that I was making. Just figure out okay, what do I actually like here? What are the 1/3 of my clothes that I actually wear and that I value? And through that, I've really stepped into a new long-term vision for my writing, instead of a 1-2 year trajectory in which I've got to meet X, Y, and Z external, published in this, friends with this writer, respected by these people, that really I'm looking at a vision of 20, 30, 40 years. How can I sustain and create a body of work that is reflective of like actual change, and that embraces the kind of process of discovery that I've had since I started writing. One of the things that I've learned is or changed, I think, is that I want to share. I had this idea that I had to make it, meaning seeing my name published in X, Y, and Z places, having my book out, being recognized by these writers and contemporary, or, seen as contemporary with all these different people. And just I learned a lot I'm debating whether I want to reveal how long I've been writing, but it's been many years, many years. Let's just call it 7 years I've been working as a full-time or daily process, of writing. Yeah, and I've just there's so many things that I have not done or resisted because I value a certain integrity in writing. And that integrity doesn't necessarily lead to making a lot of money. So I have these contradicting things in which I have to be a writer who's made it before I can truly open up and share. And also the writing that I want to do is going to be resistant to some of the kind of greater movements that are going on right now. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of jumbled up, but at least it gives you an idea of what I've been going through. The novel right now is currently knows its subject, knows its form, knows its themes, knows the style, and I also know what I have to change, and in a way that is kind of beginning fresh with all of those tenets or with all those things that I've discovered driving it. So I feel in my process of creation, these past 6 months on the next draft, I feel very clear about a lot of things that I've never felt clear about while I'm drafting a book ever. So I know, I'm really very far along, much further than I've ever been, and I'm not trying to rush this. I'm not trying to meet a certain deadline or have certain people read and acknowledge it, or have certain publications write towards their style or anything like that. I'm just totally free styling what this work wants and asks for and needs to be. It's also refreshing because if I don't meet those external markers with this work, actually it doesn't make any difference, because I'm not thinking about the next 2 years. I'm thinking about the next 20 or 30. And what this book does is opens up my world as an artistic creator in the public sphere, where I have work that people can read, and beyond that, it's just calling for what it's calling for, and I'm very clear about that now, and I can see what this book needs and wants, and that's just what I'm putting out. So that's it. I think what I also want to say is that in light of sharing more and trying to engage more and not worry about having made it before I just kind of put more of my experience out there and my current process out there, I'm going to start doing a book club, and we'll just call it 2 weeks, 2 Mondays from now. I'm going to read this book together, About a Mountain by John Nagata. This book is one of the few examples of something born from an academy, having someone that went through the academic route, but still created something very highly different and exciting to me narratively, and so we're going to read it. It's short, it's 200 and something pages, and it's just brilliant. It's 200 pages. So book club, in which we'll read a book together, and it won't just be me talking about it, but we can engage with each other and ask ourselves some questions about this unconventional narrative that's going on here, and the thematic kind of, I don't even know if storytelling is the right word, but thematic narrative that this book exhibits. How about that? So I'm alive. I am back home, and my writing process and creative process is alive, and with a very new perspective. I feel freer. I feel less pressure I feel more eager to share, probably make mistakes and reveal more of myself and just like, fuck it.